Hey everyone, this is Justin from Wellrounded Athlete. Today I want to talk a little bit about the role of intuition in training. I've struggled with this in the past. I still am walking the line, figuring out where exactly the role of intuition is in my training, if any. Some people may think, no intuition. Intuition has no role in training. If you're using some sort of intuition, you're probably just being lazy. Could be true, and let's talk about the guidelines a little bit. You cannot use your intuition in anything if you are delusional. You have no intuition if you're delusional, okay? Because then anything that you think is intuition is another delusion. Intuition is a deep self-knowledge that comes through experience and practice and a deep level of mindfulness. And if you're lazy, if you're deluded, if you don't have the daily habit and routine of training and you're always looking for an excuse to get out, you don't have any business using your intuition in the training process because you're already biased. Before you even start training, you're biased, you're trying to find a way out of it, you're trying to do this, trying to do that, okay? Intuition can only be used effectively and properly when training is already an integral part of your life and habits. And even then, you still have to have a deep understanding and self-knowledge of your true abilities, your true capacity, all of these things, your true strength, not have any delusions about where you stand and where your weak links are and where your strengths are. Your body knows more about your training state and your readiness to train than your conscious mind will ever know. So I encourage people to use their intuition with some guidelines, especially with beginner trainees. Now, with my online students and with myself, I set up some guidelines, and then within those guidelines, I encourage the use of their intuition. So what are the guidelines? Well, the first one is, in their programming, I give them, the 3 or 4 main exercises for that day. Those are the exercises where they have the power to increase the volume or decrease the volume based on how they're feeling that day, okay? And a lot of people might think that's nonsense, that's BS, how can you have an effective program based on, just intuitive training of how you're feeling? Well, it's not that laissez-faire. It's not just hippie programming. I don't smoke a bowl and then write my training programs, okay? It's more guided than that. So I give them their training program for the day, and then the 2 to 3 to 4 main exercises. I say, all right, based on how you're feeling today, you either need to increase the volume or decrease the volume on these. If the collective feeling for you that day, and when I say collective feeling, I mean the sum of your sleep, your stress, your nutrition, and your active recovery efforts, and among other things. Those are just a few. If the sum of those things is less than a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is amazing, 1 is terrible, if the sum of those things are a 1 to a 5, you need to decrease your sets by 1 to 2, depending on the exercise and the number of sets I've asked them to do. Now, if you're anywhere from a 6 to an 8, I consider that to be a sort of baseline. You're not doing amazing, but you're not doing half bad. So then you'll probably stick to the prescribed number of sets for that day. If, on the other hand, you're feeling an 8 or a 9 or a 10, you need to increase the number of sets by 1 to 3 for that day, so that you really take advantage of the physical state you're in. The sum of your sleep, your stress, your recovery, and your nutrition. And if that's great for that day, there's no reason you should only do 6 sets if that's what's prescribed. You should do 8 sets. A lot of people may do this just, it comes to them naturally. But having a little bit more structure and framework, but still allowing for the intuition component, I think can be very important in optimizing long-term gains. Because the fact is, no matter how good of coach you are, your athlete's body knows more what's going on than you will ever know. Now, if you're working intimately with this athlete every single day, you can observe them, see exactly how they're behaving and acting and training that day, well then you can develop your own intuition about that. Again, this is not an excuse for laziness. Never fall into the trap of doing too little. You need to train hard. You need to earn your deload workouts. You need to earn your rest time, okay? But I think a lot in the Western world where intuition has not been traditionally valued as much, it should be respected for what it is. And I've noticed since I've been beginning this practice in my training, I've felt a lot better, my performance is increasing, and it's a more enjoyable experience, but still with tremendous gains and increase. The human body functions in ranges. No two people are alike. I just got a bunch of blood work done, and for all those parameters they set ranges. Here's too high, here's too low, because you can't just have one single number, because there's so much individual genetic variation. And I think the same is true of training programs, that you have to learn what you can handle, what you can't, and work within certain ranges. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish by talking a little bit about the role of intuition. Anyway, I hope this has helped. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think there's a place for intuition within training? And if so, what is that place? Do you like the guidelines I've set out, or do you think they're complete BS and nonsense? I'd love to hear your thoughts, except if you disagree. Kidding, of course. I'm always up for a good discussion. I think that's it. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you found something useful, and I'll catch you next time.